So yesterday I was able to catch the Inception re-release in IMAX, and unfortunately some screenings didn't have the Tenet behind the scenes footage that was meant to be shown in front of these viewings. However, I was able to catch the footage and there was a lot of interesting info about the filming process that has me even more excited to see Christopher Nolan's latest project. Now, due to Warner Brothers taking down some of this footage, I won't be posting any of it in this video. However, later today I will be posting a link to the footage in my community tab on my channel, and this video will focus on a discussion surrounding what I saw. If you want to go into Tenet without any info, then I'd recommend watching another video until the release of the film. The footage that was shown wasn't necessarily spoiler-filled, and it was more focused on the filming in general. But regardless of this, I thought I would leave a disclaimer beforehand just in case. Before I get into it though, if you are new around here, I am currently doing a Christopher Nolan marathon where I break down all of the director's filmography along with news and updates surrounding Tenet. So if you want to stay up to date with all of this content, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you do enjoy this video, remember to leave a like rating. Without further ado, let's dive into the details surrounding the behind-the-scenes footage for Tenet. So in terms of footage from the film, most of what we got was extended scenes from the trailers, including more scenes of Kenneth Branagh, who seems like he's going to steal the show as the Russian villain. In particular, we saw him holding Elizabeth Debicki at gunpoint during the car chase, but this was all seen to a degree in the previous trailers. Now, there are links being made to the name of his character in reference to the Sator Square, and I will be getting into the characters' names, but in regards to these connections, to avoid the potentiality of spoilers, I won't be looking at this reference in detail. But the more interesting details to me was the footage of the filming and the interviews that the cast and crew gave. There was footage of them in various countries all over the world and a big emphasis placed on the realism that they approached to film certain scenes. Robert Pattinson talked about how Tenet is a film which no one has ever attempted before and that no one will ever be able to do again. He stated that there is literally no green screen used on the production and talks about how everything is shot in location without the use of sets or VFX. A great example that was shown in the footage highlighted how the professional stuntmen were tested during the filming and how they'd never done anything like Tenet before. The actors and stuntmen had to film the same shot forwards and then backwards without manipulating the footage in the editing room. There's also a brief glimpse at John David Washington doing his own stunts, which includes him fighting on top of an armoured van, and also a shot of him doing a front roll and then a back roll to film the same shot. To pull this off must have been incredibly hard because the human eye can normally detect if a shot has been manipulated or not, and to make the reverse footage look real by actually filming in reverse is pretty mind-blowing. Apparently they did all of this to accompany the film not being about time travel, but rather time inversion, as they further mention that this is theoretically real. I wasn't quite sure what they meant by this, but I'm intrigued to see what they'll do to tackle this point. If anything, this piece of information reminds me of what they did with the wormholes and black holes on Interstellar, approaching something that is unknown but from a logical standpoint based on the information we do have. It also kind of implies that the masks are used to manipulate or weaponize time inversion, but that's just guessing at this point. One of the other things that stood out was the greater look at the plane crash sequence. We got to see a few shots of a car being caught in the wheels of the plane as it's moving towards the hangar, and details on the shooting. They shot the sequence in a real airport, and Himesh Patel seems to be the one operating the plane. Now, Emma Thomas did say a while back in the Total Film magazine that this sequence would be in the first act of the film, which really lends itself to the idea that some of these sequences might be revisited in reverse during the back part of the story. Obviously, this is just speculation and there's no context to this idea, so it's not necessarily something that can be explored too much right now. But in general, what this highlighted was the amount of scale they are trying to emphasize on when filming these practical sequences. As Emma Thomas said in the footage, the 747 you see in this scene is completely real and crashed at a real operating airport. And when you think they have to plan all of this and film it at a time where the airport is still running, that's a huge task that has to be admired. They said they had to plan sequences like this in many international locations, such as Eastern Europe, Asia, and South America. The main point I take from this was that the whole project was incredibly complicated to plan and shoot. Some other small details include new pieces of music from the Tenet score which was playing in the background of this footage, and I can positively say that it sounded brilliant. It's synthy and overall just a really cool driving force for the film. There was also other footage of a shootout scene taking place at a skyscraper, and also some extended looks at the highway chase sequence, which, if I heard right, was filmed on an 8-mile stretch of highway. During this, there's a lot of praise by the cast to Christopher Nolan, with the best example coming from Kenneth Branagh. Branagh said it is more than a story told with the picture, and if anything, he was trying to say that it's cinema that makes you feel what's going on, which really echoes that quote in the first trailer of "Don't try to understand it, feel it." And the final piece of info that we can gather from this footage is the names for most of the characters. Under the actors' names, we got an official reveal for this, and it includes John David Washington as the protagonist, which makes me think that his name is going to be a reveal or a twist in some way, especially if you consider that Branagh's character is called Sator. This is all to do with the Sator Square, including the word opera, which also happens to be where the first scene in the film takes place. But again, if you want to look into that more deeply, I would recommend doing that yourself because of the potentiality for spoilers. The other characters' names include Robert Pattinson as Neil, Elizabeth Debicki as Kat, Dimple Kapadia as Priya, Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Ives, and Himesh Patel as Hamir. They all look great in the behind-the-scenes shots we do get of them, and they seem to be doing a lot of action in camera and on location themselves. So that's all the details summarised from the behind-the-scenes footage. The big focus was placed on the intricacy of filming the practical action scenes on location and also the planning that had to be carried out. The best way I can describe the film based on this footage is Inception mixed with Mad Max Fury Road. The reason I make this comparison is because the film seems to be aimed at capturing extreme tension through its action, and also how the story is driven by this inverted action. Kenneth Branagh made another great quote that once you're on the ride of Tenet, you need to hold on very tight because it doesn't stop. And that brought this example into my mind. But of course, the story and conspiracy surrounding all the names of the characters, alongside the logo and the narrative structure, is something that is only going to thrive with the way they went about filming the project. I loved this whole behind-the-scenes feature, and it's something like this which only heightens the excitement for a film of this scale, but also of this extreme detail. Either way, I'm interested to hear all of the opinions of others who have also seen this footage, and whether it has broadened your excitement for what we are about to see with Tenet. So let me know down below in the comment section. For more videos surrounding Tenet and breakdowns for the film when it releases, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to give it a like rating. Again, I will be posting the link to the behind the scenes footage on my community tab, so keep an eye out for that if you want to check it out. I will also be continuing my Christopher Nolan marathon with The Dark Knight Rises in the next few days. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.